I mean, I think the biggest thing for us this year is just to know that things can change at any moment. We have to be ready for whatever comes. And so I think going through that on the first week, that just showed us like firsthand that it could be taken away for a week and that you just have to focus on the next game and another week to just get better and just practice. I think it does, and I think it also gives other players an opportunities to step in and fill roles maybe, because we never know who's going to play each week 100%. So I think that allows everyone to be able to have the opportunity to play at the position that they want to play and get better and have extra practice. Well, I think every year same teams have a different dynamic with just new players coming in and some graduating, but I think teams for the most part have the same culture throughout the year. So, we're just going to go into it like it's a new team, it's a new game, and we just have to stay true to who we are and what we do. Yeah, I think we really just stay true to what we do every game and know. I mean, each team you have certain things that you prepare for, what you could expect from teams, but I think as long as we just stay to what we've been practicing all summer for, then I think we'll be good. Yeah, I mean, each team you have to adapt to what the team brings to the table, and every year they have a new dynamic, but I think just having the extra preseason and all the extra practices that we had, that's given us more practice to just, through certain times in the game, how to just stay true to what we do and what our team's about. Just every chance that we have, we're going to try to score it, and if we don't, we just know that we have to focus on the next one and not get too worked up about it, because if you're not going to score every shot that you get, and we're going to have plenty of chances.
I mean, the extra day that we get now during the week, because remember, we thought we were playing K-State, so we couldn't have spent that whole 6 weeks on, anybody besides them for the most part, or ourselves. But now that we get an extra day, because we only play on Fridays, that extra day is going to be helpful for every team. There's a little bit something special that Oklahoma State does, and TCU does, and West Virginia does, and Baylor does, that we can spend that extra day on. So I think the extra day the Big 12 has given us to prepare doesn't just help us for this game, it helps us for all the games. And the whole physicality of Baylor we learned from. We're way more physical. We learned about being stronger on the ball from West Virginia. We've learned about counterattacking from Oklahoma State. I mean, you steal things from every team that has had success, and I'm sure some have stolen a few things from us. So I think that's just not the topic of conversation that it used to be. They've got trophies on the wall and have a great record and great coaches, and we enjoy the game because they're so competitive. And obviously a lot of our kids are from Dallas, so they know each other, which makes it fun too. There has been a lot more time given to reserves to play with the starters or to be in the role they would actually have instead of just being the opponent every day. And that's produced a team right now that has more players ready to play than we've ever had. Because you can't help it when you've got 30 players and the only thing that would keep somebody out is an injury. You can't help but just give your starters all the reps, right? Just like in football. But we've been forced to give everyone a lot of reps, and then we liked giving everyone a lot of reps. And next thing we know, the level of every player is higher prior to a game one than normal. They're more played in, they're more ready. And certainly the freshmen are way more prepared because of the extra weeks that we've had. Yeah, there's a lot of that we don't know until the final test results come in. So, and we'll just adjust. The first time it happened, everyone was like, "Oh no, what are we going to do?" And then we looked around, and Oklahoma's canceled 2 games already, and football games have been postponed, and if there's just been a lot around the country in sports. And then we're like, okay, well, this girl looks pretty good too now. Like, for example, even we did lose a player early in the season to injury, Penny. And Hannah Anderson stepped into the holding mid and was just brilliant in there. And we're like, wow, we knew Hannah would be good there. We didn't know she'd be that good there. So we're finding those kind of silver linings whenever a player is taken from us temporarily. And we know it's usually 2 weeks and we get them back. And fortunately, we've had very few positives in this team, but the damage is done by the close contact status. That's where you lose tons of players. Yeah, I think there's 3 in particular. One is a freshman who we knew was going to play as a freshman. We knew Briley Weatherford was going to play. She was our top recruit in that class. But when Penny got hurt and Hannah got moved, Briley became the starter. So then she got every single minute at center back and has just grown tremendously in the last 3 weeks. We are super impressed. She's a freshman. She's going to make some mistakes. But I would say Briley tops the list of opportunity seizers. She's really seized the opportunity. Maddie Drenowatz transferred from Rochester, New York, Dallas kid. The opportunity to be playing with Kirsten and be with the first team occasionally has really turned her up a notch. And I think probably Avery Chaney has really grown her game. She's still got some work to do too, but the opportunity to step in and play right away and be with the first team has really raised her level, and she's able to show us the qualities that she has in her distribution, which are super important from that number 6 role. Well, unfortunately, they're as committed as ever. Their players are as feisty and excitable, and I think intent on, being competitive as they've ever been. And it's impressive, right, that year after year, teams can continue to recruit the types of players that make them better. We hope to do the same. We hope people go, oh, Bradley Weatherford, yeah, another really good freshman at Tech. Well, I look at their young players and think the same thing. The advantage they clearly have is they've been knocked over by an opponent. It doesn't care if you get up or not. And we've just been beating on each other. And you're always holding back just enough with your own player not to get them hurt. And, in a real game, that just doesn't happen. And Baylor's already experienced that for 90 minutes plus overtime. So they got a game load in, they got overtime in, and they got to pound on TCU and get pounded on. So there's no doubt they come into the first 20 minutes with an advantage in that category. So we hope to get through that 20, let the game settle down, and do our thing from there. Yeah, well, since I've never done it before, we could only dream of what they would, speculate as to what it would be like. The biggest difficulty is how many weaknesses are exposed in the non-conference. You find out what you're not good at. You find out who's ready for battle. You can evaluate your roster. And then when it comes to Big 12, a lot of questions have been answered. None of those questions can be fully answered until you play a real game. So we're going to be finding those things out over the course of 9 games. And if it takes you 9 games to figure it out, you probably didn't have a great season. You're hoping now that's on accelerated, learning. By game 1, game 2, you better know who you can trust. You better know who you can deal with. And I know Baylor will point some things out that we're not good at yet, and we're going to be happy that they do. Hope it doesn't cost us the game, but we got to learn from it, and we got to learn fast. Think of taking a math class in college. That the smart kids take the entire math class in a semester, and the kids that aren't as good at math, they have to spread it out over the whole year. So we don't have the choice of spreading out the learning over the whole year. It's 1 semester, 1 math class. You better pass. And you're taking it pass-fail, basically.
I like how you go with the math class for all the journalists. Thanks.
Well, I was the guy that took Math 19 and took it in Math 10 and Math 9 over 2 semesters. So I was that guy in college. I was like, yeah, Math 19, no problem. I was like, what is this? Anyway. Okay, guys, we'll talk to you.